What is up, YouTube? Dots Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you guys my Werewolf VMA build for the Elder Scrolls Online. This build is the one I use to get my highest score on my Dragonknight in VMA, as well as get my Flawless Conqueror achievement on him. This is just a really fun build, really easy to acquire. I believe it is good for players of all skill levels, brand new to VMA and really experienced at VMA. You can use it first time, trying to push scores, trying to get flawless. It's just a very, very solid build, and I really enjoy it. And the best part is that it can be used on any single class. Now, one of my patrons, 92, did have a request for me to say, yes, Blessed Ship, you can use this on your stand plate as well to do Werewolf for VMA. So, huge shout out to 92 for being an amazing Patreon supporter. I really appreciate that, man. As well as all my patrons. But yes, you can use this build on any single class. It doesn't matter which class you use it on. I'm going to go over the werewolf skills, and for those of you who do choose to run it on a DK like I did, I will show you the specific DK skill setup I used. You also do want to have skills slotted in case you do drop out of werewolf form, but you can maintain werewolf form very easily from the first steps into VMA to the end. Like, you can drop, like, you won't drop out of VMA or out of werewolf form if you do it right. So it will work very, very well for you. But this is just what I like, what I use, and what works for me. If you want to change something up in the builds, go ahead. This is just the sets and skills and whatnot that I chose to use that I thought would be a really good skill setup, and it ended up working out very well for me in the way I play. So I hope, you guys enjoy the build today. I've been getting a lot of questions about this, so hopefully this interests you guys and that you guys do like the setup. So let's start with the monster set, and that is Mighty Chudan. So we have a line of spell and physical resistance, a line of maximum health, and we gain ward and resolve at all times. Now, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know I hate Mighty Chudan on Dragonknight. I don't like it at all. But this is the one exception to the rule and the one time I'd use it. And that is because the fact that Mighty Chudan keeps your resistances capped off while you are in werewolf form, which is incredibly good. You're getting 50% damage mitigation from your resistances, which is fantastic. So it's just a really good set because you can't activate ward and resolve while inside of werewolf form. This gives it to you. We are also running 5 pieces of Shackle Breaker. This is my main 5-piece set. And the main reason I ran this is just because it gives a really good stat spread. You get damages, you get recoveries, and you get additions to your resource pools. And the reason this is so important is because of the Max Magicka. That big 1930 Max Magicka really helps with allowing you to cast more heals. I had some people on my stream give me a little bit of crap about Shackle Breaker, but in my opinion, it's a really good set for the build. The extra weapon damage is nice. The spell damage, magic recovery, and maximum magicka help the heals. Stamina recovery helps you if you want to weave in a bunch of skills during certain phases and things need to be burst down very fast. And then maximum stamina is always welcome because werewolf gives you bonuses to stamina anyway. So to me, Shackle Breaker is a very good 5-piece set for werewolf. We also have Vengeance Leech, a 3-piece jewelry set, a line of maximum health, and whenever you kill an enemy, you heal for 1452 health and restore for 1452 magicka and stamina. This set is really awesome, and I actually had no idea it existed until I was looking up sets to use for this build. It is super good. It's especially nice for the magicka restoration. Anytime something dies, you're getting huge floods to your magicka, stamina, and your health. It's just really nice for keeping yourself completely topped off on all your pools, especially as stuff dies. You are just going to be getting a ton of resources back. And for me, I never felt like I was struggling for my heals between Vengeance Leech and Shackle Breaker. I felt that I always had my heal available to me, which is a great thing, especially on a stage like the poison stage, where if you do get nicked with the poison, you need to cast your heal a lot to make sure that you don't die. And then finally, your weapons are a bit of a blank spot, so I would recommend using any 2-piece set that gives weapon damage. Simple enough. In terms of traits, you're optimally going to want to go all Divines. I have 2 infused because of RNG, but I would just go all Divines on all your gear. You're going to want to go all max stam. I am also using a 6-1, so 1 heavy and 6 medium. We are all robust on our jewelry with all weapon damage enchants. Optimally for your weapons, I'd want to go Nirnhoned, and then you'd go Choice of Trait on offhand with a poison enchantment and a disease enchantment. I need to transmute these still. And then your back bar, I obviously have the Maelstrom bow because I've got one from doing Maelstrom, but if you haven't done Maelstrom yet, just use another deadly bow or another 2-piece weapon damage bow. Optimally, you shouldn't need it anyway. You shouldn't be on your, you shouldn't need your weapons if you drop out of werewolf form, feels bad. So you optimally shouldn't need this. But if you do, just in case, I would recommend getting still a bow with, infused trait. Stumbling over my words here. Infused trait, enchant of choice. Doesn't really matter overly too much. But that is what we're looking at for enchants, traits, and gear weights. Moving into our skills, we have her scene, excuse me, I'm, again, too far ahead. We have Feral Pounce. So Feral Pounce is our gap closer, and it deals damage whenever we land, and then pouncing an enemy that's 10 meters away adds 4 seconds to the werewolf transformation. You want to stay in werewolf transformation, that's always your goal, and this also will deal some good damage whenever you gap close to something, so it's really good to get you to enemies that need to die very fast, and this gets you there. I chose to use Hircine's Rage. So this heals you for 45% of maximum health and grants you major brutality, increasing your weapon damage by 20% for 20 seconds. If you want to be super optimal, okay, you want to use the other morph that uses the 75, that gives you the 75% heal, I believe it is, and then you're going to want to use weapon power pots. For me, I didn't want to use my weapon damage pots inside of VMA. I didn't want to, waste them. So I just used Hircine's Rage and used tri-stat pots. So it's up to you, which combination of the heal and the potion you want to use. They kind of coincide. So I'll leave that up to you to make your own choice there. But again, I chose Hircine's Range myself. For our fear, we went with Deafening Roar. So this is our fear, and then it also applies Major Fracture. More damage. It's our AoE CC. Just an incredibly good skill, especially when combined with Howl of Agony, which is our main single target burst, and it also will deal 30% more damage to enemies that are feared. These two skills will freaking global so many ads, man. I'm telling you, if you need something to die, hit it with a Deafening Roar and follow it up with a Howl of Agony. It will die so fast. And that's part of the reason why I don't mind having higher recoveries in this build. And I know some people are like, why do you need to learn recovery with all the freaking light attacks? Blah, 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 blah. But I personally liked to weave in a lot of my skills, and I liked to use skills a lot so that things would die very quickly. So I, applied my bleeds, and then if I need something to die, just Deafening Roar, Howl of Agony. Just boom, dead. Easy clap. Then we also have Claws of Life, which allows you to basically put on a disease damage dot and deal a little bit of instantaneous damage, and then you get healed for 50% of the damage done. So it's just another heal to add into the build. And then finally, we went with the Pack Leader Morph. So your light attacks will apply a bleed over 8 seconds. Heavy attacks deal 50% splash damage. Max stam increased by 30%. Stam recovery increased by 15%. But most importantly, those 2 direwolves. And if they die, they get returned after 10 seconds. The direwolves are amazing. They are so good for VMA. They are really helpful for taking aggro off things. They help you kill things really, really fast. They can go and attack certain things that you need to be killed while you kill something else. It's just, they add so much utility to, and allow you to do other things that I feel like if you were just in the Berserker mode, it wouldn't be as good. Yeah, your bleed would deal more damage, but in my opinion, the direwolves were incredibly helpful, and I loved having them in VMA. Pets are always really, really good for VMA, so that's why I chose to go with this morph. So that's the werewolf skills. Now, for those of you who play a Dragonknight, I will go over the skills that I did choose to use outside of werewolf form. If you're another class, you could use whatever skills you want. I'm not going to go overly explain these. I'm just going to do a very quick explanation since this doesn't apply to everybody. Rending Slash is for a dot and is our main spammable. Noxious Breath for a dot, Major Fracture. Venomous Claw for a dot. Quick Cloak for Major Expedition and Major Evasion. Reflective Plate for the Reflect. Obviously, werewolf form. Caltrops and Endless Hail for the AoEs, Poison Injection for a dot, Igneous Weapons for my Brutality, Vigor for the heal, and Corrosive Armor in case, I need to, I don't have enough ultimate to get into werewolf form, but I need to not die. Boom, we pop Corrosive Armor. But again, I didn't really use these skills. I used the skills on this build. I think I used it in my Flawless run because I was really tunneled really hard, and I actually missed my werewolf form going about to expire, so I did have to use these a bit. But optimally, if you're paying attention, you should just be able to be on your werewolf farm for the start all the way to the end. In terms of other things, I use Dubious Cameron Throne, Buff Food. We are obviously a werewolf. And then for your Mundus, I believe when I did my run, I used the Shadow Mundus. I have the Warrior slotted right now because of my PvP builds. So I'd use the Warrior or the Shadow personally. I don't think it overly matters. You could just use, Warrior is going to give you you know, better weapon damage. Shadow's going to give you better crits. Just use whichever you prefer. But like I said, when I ran mine, I did the Shadow. But again, Warrior is also a good option, and probably a little bit better too because your crits are a little low. So, but if you do gain Major Savagery from your pots, Shadow's going to be good too. So, you know, you can tell Warrior or Shadow, you'll be fine. Now, champion points are going to, you know, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really optimize my champion points for Werewolf. I didn't. I just used my normal PvE champion points. So these are not optimized, specifically the red CP. So just take these, you know, out of the grain of salt. 37 into Master at Arms, 61 into Thumb, 56 into Precise Strikes, 60 into Piercing, 56 into Mighty, 40 into Warlord, 56 into Tenacity, 100 into Mooncalf, 37 into Shadow Ward, and 37 into Tumbling, 72 into Ironclad, 56 into Thick Skin, 49 into Hardy, 49 into Elemental Defender. I personally would move the points out of Spell Shield and spread them out over Hardy, Ellie, Defender, Thick Skin, just other stuff that is not Spell Shield. Can even do Quick Recovery for the heal. It's just the points are kind of wasted here because you're way over cap with these. This, again, I just used this because it was in my PvE build, but I would move these points out personally. But, you know, CP is really customizable, really personal, so you can pretty much use whatever you'd like. I mean, in terms of, like, general rotational stuff, Werewolf's not overly difficult rotationally. Like at all. You basically want a light attack for the bleed, toss up Claws of Life for the hot, leap to shit that needs to die, use Hircine's Rage if you need to heal, combine Deafening Roar with Howl of Agony to really burst things super, super hard, and if you're fighting a boss that needs to die right now, just weave in the Howl of Agonies after your light attacks, and honestly, that's it. That's basically it. Guys, the build's incredibly fun and incredibly effective for VMA. I really, really liked it, and I hope that you guys do as well. I know this was a very quick build video, not a crap ton to cover here today. We pretty much, I believe, hit everything. I touched on my potions as well. So yeah, that's it, guys. The Werewolf VMA build is done. I hope you all enjoyed it very, very much. If you did, please leave a like on the video. Any questions, leave a comment below. If you guys want to see the build in action, I will post a link in the description below of my flawless run, so you guys can go take a look to see the build in action if you'd like to. But if you guys enjoyed this as well, I'd appreciate if you hit the sub button as well as hit the bell that keeps notifications on. And to get videos like this early, as well as a bunch of other great perks, consider pledging on Patreon. Link will be in the description below. Tiers start out as little as $1. And if you just want the early access, you can feel free to join as a member by clicking the join button below this video. So I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I very much appreciate it. As always, I'm Dots Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.